back, everybody. I am Hutch from Hutch iPerf. I'm sure you know that by now. I been getting worn out at work, so this is going to be short because I really don't have a whole lot of time. But anyway, enough of me complaining about having to work too much. Let's get some of these parts out. So I'm messing with the oil pump today. So I have a Moroso oil pan that I'm putting on the car, and I'm also using a Moroso Pickup that's supposed to match up with that. Where's it at? It matches up with the pan. So let's get this out. This is the sealed power Melling. I think they're all probably the same. It's a standard. It's not a high volume, it's a standard oil pump. So, let's talk about that for a second. So you've got, if you know anything about Oldsmobiles, you've got an engine that has less than ideal, let's put it that way, oil return. It's just, I guess, the passages coming down from the head into the block and back down. It's just it's a pretty small hole on both ends of the head, front and back, and with the engine, of course, being tilted back a little bit, most of the oil collects at the back. So there's all kinds of stuff. People have been putting restrictors in them to keep more oil down at the bottom of the engine, and doing different things to plumb the oil different ways to get it back. I'm going to try something different here. Well, honestly, this isn't different. This is just what I'm going to do. Let's put it that way. So you get, you have an engine with less than adequate oil return. And then guys put high volume oil pumps on them. And they're like, oh, it's terrible. All the oil stays up at the top and my valve covers leak. Well, yeah, you're pumping a ton of oil up to the top of the engine, and it doesn't have a chance to flow back because you just keep pumping more oil because you're using a high volume pump. I am using, this is the M22F. It's a standard volume oil pump. This is more like what you would get on a stock big block, small block Olds. So it comes with this pink, purple spring, and it comes with some instructions. So basically, the oil pump supplied with a pressure release spring that is equivalent to the OE design. If a higher pressure, approximately increase between 8 and 10 pounds is desired, remove the green spring and replace it with the pink spring. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in the pink spring, and I'm going to increase the pressure of the pump, but not necessarily the volume of the pump. I don't think you need to pump a ton of fluid up to the heads if it's not going to go back. And then you're just going to have, you're going to have the same issue with what you're trying to restrict the oil from getting to the top in the first place, is that you're limiting yourself on the amount of oil that is in the bottom of the pan, because it won't flow back because you're pumping it out faster and it'll come back. So I think, I mean, these cars, these engines have been out since like the mid-60s, and I have found nothing online about Oldsmobile engines blowing up or burning up back in that time frame. And this is back before, you know, all this stuff became an issue. Guys were just buying the cars off the lot. They'd buy a 69 442 and they'd take it to the track and they'd run it. And I wasn't hearing anything about there being a huge issue. Tell me I'm wrong. There's a comment section down there. You know, this is my first Oldsmobile engine, but I know how to look stuff up, and I can't find anything saying that there's like some super huge problem back when these cars were new in the 60s and 70s with this stuff burning up or freaking out. I don't see it. Maybe it's there and I just haven't found it. I don't know. Anyway, let's put this spring in. So you get the spring and you get a new cotter pin. So we're going to take the old one out. Everything else that's in here we're going to reuse. So we'll get this pulled out. Notice I got my thumb over it so this thing doesn't fly away on me. So this little guy, which is the retainer for the spring, that stays in there. So we're just replacing the spring. That's it. Make sure that seat's in there the way it should. That goes back on. Then we'll just pop this down to the point that this, so we get this in there just enough to get it started. Come on. There we go. All right, cotter key goes back in, and then we just bend this over. Yeah. There. And that's literally all I'm doing. So now, just get our pickup on. So in order for this to go on, this bolt has to come out. And there is a longer bolt that comes with the pickup. So we'll set that off to the side. Let's see. Let's get our bolts out here. So you've got longer bolt. You've got a spacer that's going to fit in between this the plate and the pickup, and then the lock washer to go with it. So let's get this relatively, that's about right. So now we just have to get this bad boy on. All right, get this thing turned around so you can see, and we'll get our bolt in. A little bit of blue thread locker to go on this, and our lock washer at the top. The old bolt was 3/8, but the head on this one is 7/16. Let's see if I can get in there with this thing. Wasn't that tight to begin with when I took them off. There. Well, said it was going to be short, and short it was. So it's about all the time I got. I got other stuff I got to do, and work calls. I got drafted to go in on my day off, so I'm just kind of stuck doing little stuff now. I got other stuff around the house I need to do, not just this. Anyway. So now it is on. The question is going to be with the pickup like this, like your ordinary pickup you would have on the car. Basically, you'd drive it in, and you would have marked it ahead of time to the depth of the oil pan versus the depth of your screen to make sure that the thing went in and was at the proper depth, and you could move it around. With this, it actually bolts to the housing of the pump. So you probably got a little bit of a wiggle room as far as this bracket, but not much, not much. So this is supposed to match up with the oil pan that I have. We're going to find out, because next time you see me, I'm probably going to put this on the car and then check the depth of this versus the oil pan just to make sure everything is good. But for now, that is all I got. Standard volume pump, high pressure spring. Well, this is Hutch from Hutch High Perf. Appreciate you being here. Do all the things, like, subscribe, leave a comment. You know what to do. I appreciate you coming back and watching as I slowly drag along and finish this engine out and get it in the car. So anyway, it's all the time I got for this week. I will catch you next week, hopefully, and we'll do some more. See you then.